morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a really good day. We're here live with Coffee and Conversation this morning. We'll be talking with Councilman John Ortega here from Questa and just kind of just touching base with him on some of the things that we do as a coalition and why he decided to join the coalition. We'll give a few minutes for him to get on and for everyone else to get on. So I hope everyone's having a good Friday, and we're getting ready to freeze our butts in the middle of town and so we could decorate for Christmas. So if anyone wants to volunteer and help us out, we'll gladly take some help. We'll be there from 10 o'clock till it starts getting a little bit colder this afternoon, so feel free to join us. And just give a few more minutes for John to get on. Hopefully he'll get on. So one of the things I want to invite you all to next week on Wednesday at 9:30, we will be hosting a guest. His name is Gilbert Valdez. He's an old colleague of mine. He's not old. He's just a colleague of mine that used to work with me. But he's licensed practicing counselor, and he's very passionate about the brain and the development and the way it works. So he'll be coming on here on Wednesday to join in with us to talk about the development of the brain and how alcohol affects the development of the brain in regards to youth and other people. And we'll be able to talk to him here in a minute, but if you can, please join us on Wednesday. It'll be a really informational session. We are also it'll be recorded, and we'll be adding it to our Facebook page as well as our YouTube channel. So just so that you're aware of that information. And let's see, hopefully John can get in. It's saying that he's being added, but he hasn't come on yet. Hi, Lorenzo. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hi, John. Morning. You want to tilt your camera just a little bit so we could see you? There you go. How are you doing today, John?
I'm good. And you?
Doing good. Getting ready to go freeze our butt.
I won't be there today probably, but I'll be there tomorrow.
Oh, okay, sounds good. So we just wanted to bring you on, Councilman Ortega, just to kind of talk a little bit about your role in the coalition and why you chose to join. So I'll let you go ahead and talk a little bit about that.
Well, my role in the coalition is on the local government sector. I represent the village of Questa. I've been part of the coalition since 2017, I believe. Part of the reason that I wanted to become involved was with my history as a first responder and EMS. I saw a lot of need on the community. I knew there was need before, and the drug problem was plaguing our community. And I remember it was right around the time I was running for council the first time. I remember getting the ambulance getting paged to a girl that was 8.5 months pregnant, and she was trying to come off of heroin. She'd come off heroin the day before, but she hadn't felt the baby move, so she got scared. So I realized there was a need before that, but realizing that there was heroin in the community, it really concerned me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got involved. I knew that we needed help in our community. I guess after joining the coalition, I realized that it was a lot worse than what I even knew.
Right. Yeah, and so we continue to share the data and the numbers with everyone. And I remember probably about 2 years ago when we shared our current data that we had then about the kids that were drinking and drinking alcohol in our community. I know it really hit you really hard. And then we came out with our new numbers. Can you kind of share like what your thoughts were on that?
Like, I guess I was blinded to the fact that we have an underage drinking problem in Questa, and it was all something that I grew up involved in. I guess I never contributed to the delinquency of minors, but as a minor, I was drinking, and I shouldn't have been. And it's all part of the culture that we seem to have in Questa. I always knew about it, but I didn't think it was as bad as it was. And when I saw those numbers you were talking about, when Questa's numbers and underage drinking and drug use were kind of higher than what the counties were, and then the counties' numbers were higher than the states were, I realized that we have a bigger problem in Questa. I guess I thought that this problem was everywhere, and it probably is everywhere, but it's just worse in Questa. So I just think about that culture that we grew up in, and when we're in maybe getting into high school, the older kids, the seniors, were showing us how to party, and we were drinking, and it's just a cycle that seems to go on, and it's something that it's a culture that it'd be nice to change. It seems like
Right.
it's acceptable to some of the parents in Quest, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying everyone, but
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and say everyone, but it seems like it's acceptable to allow kids to drink at home. So it's kind of the idea that it's better to drink at home than out in public partying, or out partying with behind my back. But it's still not legal, number one, and it's still not right.
Right. And you bring up a good point, because that it is true. Most, a lot of parents, and it's not just in our community. I mean, in every community, when, in trainings and other conferences that we've been in, this is something that every community is facing, is where parents or adults feel that it's better that the kids are drinking with them because they feel it's safer. But I think there's this misconception of what alcohol is actually doing in a body of an adolescent, and that's the development of the brain in particular doesn't develop till it's 25. That's why the age of drinking became uh, uh, rose to 21, even though 21 is still under 25. But that's what it is. And I think it's a lack of education, and to be completely honest, I was right there with you drinking as teenagers. We were together in those times. And but if I tell my kids now, if I would have known or been educated as to what the drinking was doing and the drugs were doing to my body in those days, I probably would have thought differently about taking them or using them. And so I think it's a lack of education, and parents and guardians and older. I think also another point that we need to touch on is the older peers. The kids who are already 21 and are able to buy. So we also have them who contribute to some of the minors, not just in our community, but throughout the U.S. or wherever, this is happening. So I don't know how we can start bridging that gap. And you mentioned, it's a cultural thing in our community. So, and I know that's something that the coalition is working on. We're trying to change that culture and find some ways to help families find ways to um, do things without having alcohol present, or allowing the kids to drink. So is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I agree with what you say. I often look back and think how high school could have been different for me and better. So that's kind of the same thing. It would have just. I had
Yeah.
friends that didn't drink, and they were still popular amongst their peers too. So there's a lot of peer pressure. I understand that. Um,
Yeah.
but little by little, if we can start changing that culture, start convincing the parents not to accept it. I know my parents didn't accept it, but I still did it. But But I know there's parents out there
Right.
that do accept it. And it all starts back, like what you said.
Yeah.
It's all part of, I think, our culture in general, where we can't have a birthday party without having alcohol. And I think that kind of has to change a little bit, especially for having birthday parties for
Right.
young kids. There's no sense in having alcohol at a party for a 5-year-old. And that's part of one of the things I've learned,
Right.
that we don't always have to be doing that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, and John, so, I'm glad that we had this conversation. We talked a little bit about, being teenagers and, the alcohol and and how, it is. So, for our community, if you're not aware, right now, Questa, we're at I believe our stat is, well, we're high, it's in the 50s. So over 59% actually is what it is at, of high school kids who've had at least one drink in 1 month. So if you're looking at 59% of a 200 population, you're looking at about 140 of those kids who are drinking and have had an alcoholic beverage in the last 30 days. So, and this is based off of a survey, our youth YRRS survey, which is the Youth Risk and Resilience Survey that was conducted in September. So this is September of last year, not this year. And then we have the pandemic going on right now, where we know that alcohol is being very present in everyday life, and this is for adults. So we'll be curious to see when we conduct our next survey, which will be in 2021, to see how, if those numbers rose or if they decreased. So just kind of want everybody to be aware of those numbers. We went from a 39.8% in 2017 to a 59%, which is a 20% increase. And that's pretty concerning, because we really we were hoping to see those numbers decrease, and we're not too sure what happened in those 2 years that caused that jump. But we're doing some interviews with some older youth and some of the younger youth to try to figure out what may have caused that jump in number. So thank you, John, for coming on. I'm gonna cut it short today because I want to get organized and get up to where we need to be. And I know you're taking your break from work, so I don't want to take any more time from you. So thank you for being on this morning. And for everyone who may have missed the beginning part of this, on Wednesday, we're going to have a guest speaker. His name is Gilbert Valdez, and he's going to be talking about the development of the brain on adolescents, as well as those who are presently addicted or in alcohol, actively in alcoholism. So it'll be really interesting. It'll also be recorded, and so we'll share it across our media platforms. But if you're able to tune in on Wednesday, please tune in, because he caught my eye. He's a former colleague of mine, so I follow him on Instagram, and he was posting some things on the brain and what happens when with alcoholism. So I asked him to come on to our coffee and conversation, and he agreed. So it'll be a really good, quick workshop, mini workshop is what I guess I'm going to call it, from him. And so please tune in on Wednesday, and it'll be Wednesday at 9:30. And I hope to see you all, and I hope you all have a good weekend. And John, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a good day and have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Bye.